Hi, and welcome back to Inspired Alchemy with Lizzie. This is episode 19, and I think I want to talk about self worth and kind of my journey with it. So, I can't really remember back to how I felt as a teenager because I had so much stuff going on, or how I felt as a little kid. I think as a little kid, I had more self worth because I was very sassy. As a teenager and young adult, I was also very sassy. But at the same time, I don't think I had a lot of self worth. And people will confuse self-worth with being egotistical and things like that. And while I never really saw that as egotistical in other people, one of my biggest fears, because I come from narcissistic abuse and things like that, one of my biggest fears was turning into a narcissist or people viewing me as a narcissist. And that quieted me and allowed me to stay small. I allowed myself to stay small in all of that. So that kind of tanked my self-worth, and I masked and I covered everything up and I didn't want to be too much and all of these things. So when I had my daughter, I knew that a lot of things were going to have to change when I got pregnant with her. And especially when I found out I was having a girl, I was like, and I've said this before, things have to change. I will not perpetuate the same cycle that has been in my family for generations between mothers and daughters. I won't do that. And I was like, things have to change. I'm going to change. She deserves better. And while I'm doing all of these things for her because she gave me the courage to do that, in the background, I was building the courage to do them for myself, and I was building self-worth little by little. These things happen little by little. And I I got a notification that was weird. So little by little, I've been building it and stacking it. And big change had to come when, and I believe I've told this story before, and if you've heard it, you're gonna know it. When my daughter was little, she started theater school, and was standing there filling out paperwork, and where it says name, date, like first name, last name, date, all of those things, address. I'm standing there and I'm actually horrified. I have other parents looking at me like, what the heck happened? Because I look like I had seen a ghost. And out loud, I literally go, I forgot my name. I had forgotten my name for a good 20 seconds. At least. It felt like an eternity, but it was probably only 20 seconds. And I was like, what in the world? I finally remembered it, obviously, but in name, I was going to write mom. I had built my self worth around everybody and everything else. And I had built it around people pleasing and external validation. And while my daughter is my world, she is everything I didn't know I needed. She literally is my favorite person in the entire universes of all universes that exist, have existed, whatever. She has taught me a lot. But I digress. I could have a whole episode just on me and the growth as a mom, as a parent. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, I was going to write mom. Okay, but who is Liz? And that started my journey. It took me a while to sign up for my first coaching. And I had been in this ladies group for a while, and her name's Erin, and she runs Soul Naked Somatics now. But back then it was just Soul Naked. And she is absolutely amazing. And she was one of the first people that ever saw my worth before I did. And I would tell her, she was like, come to this container. And I was like, I don't belong there. I said, it's full of all of these amazing women that have so much. They're building so much. Who am I to be in there? And she's like, who are you not to be in there? And so, to much of, I don't want to say dismay, but in fear and passing all of the fear that I had, I hit that button to pay for that container. One of the best things I ever did. Entering that container, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. And I've said this before, there were days that would go by and I had no idea what I looked like. And I noticed that I do that when something big is going to happen, or when I'm going through a rough patch, that it's hard for me to see who I'm becoming, because not because I'm upset about it, it's just overwhelming. Or when I'm fighting emotions, resisting a lot of things. So I signed up for that container, and then I signed up for another one. And I think I've been through a couple with her, and I actually didn't meet her until recently, when I finally said yes to an in-person thing, because she was in Florida and I'm like, there's no way she is going to be a couple of hours from me and I am not going to sign up for this class. Was I scared? Yeah, I had never been to a women's circle before. I had no idea what to expect of like how my body was going to react or respond. And so I was scared. I had already started doing some really deep work, but I was still scared. This was like a first time thing for me. And one of the best things I ever did. Group of beautiful women, and it was absolutely amazing. Afterwards, my body was like, this was a lot, and I ended up throwing up. I don't think I ever told Aaron that. It wasn't because of the class. My body was like, okay, we're ready to rid ourselves of all of these limiting beliefs, and it just purged. Gross, I understand, I'm sorry. But stuff like that happens. And so before that, I started with Next Level University. And one of the big things that they work on is self-belief and self-worth. And my first coach in there was Jessie. Jessie is an amazing, beautiful human being. I love her. And she helped me start building habits to create self-worth. She helped me change perspectives on who I really am at my core, and helped me little by little with these different things. And you can set up systems and all of that. And one of the biggest things that has helped me build self-worth is consistency and keeping promises to myself. Even when they feel that it feels hard, when it feels messy, when it makes you want to vomit, when it's uncomfortable, I still keep the promises to myself. Do I screw up sometimes? Abso-friggin-lutely. Yes, I do. A lot. But I make it a point to keep promises to myself that are, I see them as very important. And even through other people being uncomfortable that I'm keeping promises to myself or what have you, I'm still doing it because it's in my authenticity and it is what I need to keep moving forward to better serve all of you. And so Jessie was my first coach. And then I worked with Alan and I became part of the team. So I had Amy, Alan, and Kevin, and all the beautiful people of the NLU team that are constantly breathing life into you. And if you don't believe in yourself, they'll make you believe in yourself. And self-worth, skyrocketed. And as you go through these glass ceilings and as you push these limiting beliefs, yeah, you will get into those deeper pits of growth where it does come up again. And it's it's a constant thing that happens. So you up level and then your self-worth is like, "Oh, yeah, who am I to be doing this? Like this is a big thing." And then self-belief, if you don't have self-belief, it can be really challenging to push yourself. So, fast forward, I leave NLU because I want to go all in on Inspired Alchemy and all of these things. Love them to death still. Great human beings. Um, but I knew I had to build something else. And so I start doing all these things for Inspired Alchemy. And then as I'm moving forward, I have another guide come into my life. Something I had been putting off forever. Things that I have been interested in all of my life, but then was like, no, 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 I'm not going to do that, because we like to keep ourselves small by resisting the things that we need most. And so, yes, I finally started doing these things and I started diving deeper into energy work and I started diving deeper into these other things that I geek out about, I nerd out about, all of these things. And I'm given a space where I'm being brought home to myself. And my self-worth is starting to go up more. And self-belief is starting to go up more. I'm doing more things in my business. I'm wanting to build bigger. I'm wanting to build bigger community. I'm wanting to do all of these different things. And I'm working on my second business and all of these things. And it's a constant kind of, you have to stay consistent in the things that you are doing, or else it will not stunt you, but not pause. It'll pretty much stop you if you don't stay consistent. I know that there was a better word for that, so I'm sorry. I'm struggling for words. But the thing is that we're all worthy of the life that we want. Society will tell us that we're not. People will tell us that we're not. Even our friends and family will tell us that we're not, that we're asking for too much, that we're thinking too big, and that our goals are impossible. But are they? Are your goals impossible? If you're willing to step up and do the work that is necessary, nothing is impossible. If you're willing to stay consistent and build self-worth and self-belief, nothing is impossible. And I'm living, breathing proof of that. Do I still have self-worth problems? Yep. Do I still have self-belief problems? Yep. Is one worse than the other? Absolutely. I am just staying consistent though. And I'm just moving one foot in front of the other because that's all I can do. That's all any of us can do. And each moment we have to choose. And if I wouldn't have been brave enough to say yes to all of these different things, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't be the mom that I am. My daughter wouldn't be able to move through the things that she moves through. And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, because this is actually very uncomfortable for me to talk about. Because go back to the beginning of this episode where I said I am terrified to be seen as a narcissist because I was abused by narcissists in my life. So for me to have this conversation is challenging, but at the same time, I want you to see that it's possible for you. Whatever you want to accomplish, as long as you're willing to put in the work and stay consistent as possible. And that includes resting, making sure you're taking care of yourself, and self-care. And I'm not just talking about masks and spa days and things like that. While those are important, it's the real nitty-gritty stuff that I've had to stay consistent in to build my self-worth and self-belief as I go through these different levels. And as I go higher in these levels, it is more and more challenging. But I have been shown over the past week that it's not for nothing. Obviously, I know I help my daughter, but I've been able to help other people staying consistent and staying consistent in my habits to build self-worth and self-belief. And that's what I'm here for. Seeing someone's magic turn on, seeing someone gain belief and worth in themselves, and completing things and doing things that they never thought that they could. Because I know what it feels like to be that person. And I mean, this could be a very long conversation, but you can do it. If you have the drive, you can do it. And I'm not just doing this for me. I'm doing this for my daughter. I'm doing this for the people out there that feel alone, that don't feel worthy of the life that they want, that are fearful to take that next step, no matter how small it may be, that don't have belief that they can accomplish what they want to accomplish. I want you to know that it's possible. You're worthy of it. You just have to believe. And you're not broken. You're not broken. You're just becoming, and you're unbecoming everything that you're not. And you are becoming everything that you are meant to be. And at times it will feel like you're breaking, but you're just being rebuilt. You're a phoenix burning down and rising from the ash. You are an alchemist taking everything that has happened in your life and turning that into gold. And if someone hasn't told you today, I'll tell you. I'm proud of you. Keep going. Until next time, keep creating alchemy. Inspired perpetual alchemy.